we are not out of mosquito season yet.
No,
it's a while.
Oh, they've been getting me good, man.
Dude, it's everywhere.
And I think I'm still allergic. You know, like when I was a kid, I was allergic to mosquito bites, and now when I get them, I get these huge white, like, welts on my legs and arms. It's terrible, but you can take care of that.
Yep, with Mosquito Nix, you can go to mosquitonix.com. When you contact them, you're a local representative who knows Tom and Dan listeners. Yep. They'll give you a discount for being Tom and Dan listener, but basically, I have a misting system. It's right by my pool equipment, and it's this barrel filled with this organic chemical that breaks down after about 10 seconds, completely safe. In fact, it's like 10 or 100 times less potent chemical-wise than the actual spray you spray on your skin.
Yeah, you don't want to use that, but you actually have it on a timer, so at peak mosquito times...
It just goes off,
It goes off, so that way when your sons, when your wife, when they're out in the pool or around the pool...
Dusk, 9 p.m. Also, it comes with a remote. I just hit it, missed my whole... Like, basically, they lined it around all my wooden fence, so it missed my backyard and eliminates all mosquitoes. And so I hit the remote one time, let it mist, give it about 10 seconds...
Good to go.
Let my kids go out there and play, and there's no mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Like, I have no mosquitoes in my backyard, and it's been so rainy lately, for sure.
Oh, they're crazy.
If you live in Florida, your backyard is mosquito crazy, especially you go out there in dusk. You got a pool with no screen enclosure. You're dealing with mosquitoes every day. You're trying to buy candles and using citronella and foggers and all stuff. Just go get the Mosquito Nix system. You could put it on a payment plan. They also have portable systems that Daniel has.
Yep, I have one of those right now, and it works for smaller areas. It's perfect.
It's awesome. They'll come fill it up every month. It's mosquitonix.com.
In the boy, the larynx and the vocal cords change so that his voice acquires the deeper pitch of a man's voice. The shoulders become broader, thighs grow longer, and the muscles become stronger. Hair begins to grow on the face, under the arms, and in the pubic area.
You are a man, and in taking on the role of the world's
second
greatest gender, you must adhere to A Gentleman's Guide to Manliness.
What is Kramer doing?
I didn't hear the...
You're supposed to look. You don't count the 2 and the 1. You know that.
I have to watch the computer.
It's not...
All right, you count it down.
We're not a news station.
No, I'll just start. Welcome to A Gentleman's Guide to Manliness. I'm Dan Dennis.
Tom Van.
Steve Kramer.
And this is going to surprise everybody, but I'm leaving that in. I'm going to do it.
Well, you got to edit that out.
No.
You know I love editing.
I know you do. I know you do. How you been, man? You look
better
good.
Than you.
You're spicy today.
You look like you're going to die.
Yeah, I'm pretty sick, but I feel better today. I do feel better. I think the antibiotic... You know, I don't like antibiotics. Is the other option just you don't take them and you just write it out? Is that what you do?
Because or you get really, really sick and get...
Here's the problem with antibiotics.
The virus, the antibiotics won't help. They don't do anything. The only way is the antibiotics will help if it's a bacterial.
It's a bacterial, and it's clearing up whatever was starting to move into my chest, and it's coming back out. But here's the problem I have with antibiotics, and I'm not going to give you TMI, but they hurt my stomach so bad, and they mess everything up down there. And just when I think... I have a bad stomach anyway, and just when I think I get it dialed in, you got to take these things, and it doesn't matter. They say take them with food. Okay, I took them with food, but it hurts, and it's just a mess.
Have you always been that way, or has it gotten progressively worse?
It's gotten progressively worse.
So you may have you may be having like a reaction to them. That is something that
not good.
Can develop over time.
It's just not good.
My wife has that.
It ruins your gut bacteria, and because it kills that too, the stuff you're supposed to have.
Well, there's a whole theory behind that. If you've ever read Dr. Steven Gundry, have you heard of him?
No.
Dr. Steven Gundry?
Gundry, he's the guy that is, I think he's a cardiologist from Yale, and he switched his practice to focus on functionality and well-being and a lot of diet issues. And so he's the guy that talks a lot about lectins and why to avoid like vegetables from the nightshade family, etc. But one of the big things he talks about is the microbiome that everybody has and how antibiotics have precipitated a lot of autoimmune disease rise in the population and childhood obesity, and the link also between your microbiome and your gut and your brain, and that, for instance, there's a bacteria that signals your brain when to turn off the urge to eat, and that in sampling children, that bacteria is missing among many children, and that is one of the theories for the epidemic of childhood obesity, and then of course type 2 diabetes and a lot of other spin-offs. So super fascinating guy. But antibiotics he blames a lot of our modern ills in health on antibiotics.
I can believe that. In an odd twist of fate, Tracy, who is a big-time Tom and Dan listener. She's always in our Twitch chat room. Twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live. She says, oh my God, Gundry's phone number is one number off from Party Patch because she works for the company Party Patch.
Weird.
And she says she gets calls for him all the time. What a weird coincidence, right?
That is.
Also, there's the thing of like you take too much antibiotics, they stop working for you, and you develop
and that goes for you and for the entire population. And there's like communities, like certain areas or communities have more resistance to certain antibiotics than others, and we know certain classes of antibiotics are now less effective than others. And
because the doctor's just like, just give them the antibiotic, this is Z-Pack.
Well, and the bigger issue is like the meat industry. I mean, they give those things out, whether or not the animal is sick, that's just in the feed, and that has created a huge problem with resistance.
Can I ask you guys a question that's related to meat?
What?
I think I have a problem on my hands with my daughter.
Okay.
She is slightly addicted to bacon. Mm-hmm. Like, it's her favorite food now.
Yeah, it's a tasty,
delicious food.
It is a delicious food, but I don't really want to, with heart disease running in my family and also heart problems running in Andrea's family, I'm not sure at 4 years old I want to be cooking up the whole pack of Right Brand bacon and just watching her
talking about
mow
for
it
you.
down.
She's fine.
Well, yeah, at 4 she's fine.
Yeah, she's fine. You're not.
Shouldn't I be setting a better example and like limiting the amount of bacon? Because
isn't that the whole essence of like raising children is giving them everything with some degree of restraint?
No,
so
I gave
just a
no
little
restraint. The other night I bought a package of Right Brand bacon, the big thick, the one that looks like just a backstrap of a hog.
Each slice is a half-inch thick.
Yes,
okay,
and I cooked all of it, and she ate 91% of it.
Here's my justification for...
That's not good.
She's like a real man.
It's all fine. So, I assume most athletes at the highest level in the NFL grew up eating the poorest nutrition.
I'm with you.
That because of their
bacon,
poverty level,
a lot of scrapple,
and and socioeconomic reasons.
Oh my goodness!
What do you mean? That's I'm just going by.
I'm just seeing all of the logical pitfalls and also troubling generalizations that you're putting forward in that analysis.
All of my friends,
as you wink and say, you don't wink, but you're. Anyway, go ahead.
I mean, is it fact or not that probably the majority of NFL players grew up at a lower income level?
Probably is a high percentage.
I don't know the stats. I'm just based off of what I've seen.
Yeah.
What have you seen? What do you mean seen?
I've seen all the players talk about how they grew up poor.
Yeah, they do talk about it on Hard Knocks.
Literally every single one
on Hard Knocks, they talk about it.
I mean, there's
30 for 30.
There's a lot of outliers, a lot of kickers out there that
I would be interested in it. I think you're probably right. Actually, I think probably there's a higher percentage of of football players in general that grew up in I guess poor.
And then,
Samantha's in our chat room. She says turkey bacon. That is not bacon.
That's not even bacon.
Yeah.
That's not. No.
Just do bacon if you're going to do turkey bacon.
No, and I'm not even going to cook that in my house.
Also,
hold on. Where were you going with that? So basically, if you're poor, you eat bacon. That's a theory.
No.
Bacon's really expensive.
I'm just saying all these.
Well, especially the Right Brand.
Bacon is expensive.
That's like $13 bacon.
That's like butter over margarine. Butter is more expensive than margarine.
It is.
All I'm saying is all our best athletes now grew up eating very poorly, probably. They're fine now.
Our NFL athletes are not necessarily the model of health, though. I mean, they have very short careers. The average length in the NFL of a career is like 4 years or something like less than that, and they frequently die young and are plagued with a host of issues from
hitting their head.
Cardiac, the musculoskeletal, brain. I mean, that's not the paragon of health that we're referring to.
But what I'm saying has nothing to do with eating bacon growing up or just candy and whatever bread, white bread and bologna.
I kind of agree with you though for a different reason, which is if you're going to eat bad, like being a kid is the time to do it because you cannot do it now.
Also, it all matters about like you don't want to hold weight, you don't want to become obese, and when you're a kid, you're burning fast because you're growing. It's like my Jetson, our Iron Man, my brother-in-law, who's an Iron Man.
Oh my God, I've seen him
eat whatever he wants,
I saw him
because he burns.
Or like Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
You know, like hamburgers at like a pub are bigger. Obviously, like a pub burger. It's like a nice handmade. At that one place that we went to in Colorado, we watched him eat 2 double versions of those. We're talking, like foot tall hamburgers. He ate 2 of them.
So it
had to have been 3,000, 4,000 calories.
Yeah,
again, that doesn't equal longevity, though. I mean, there's argument in favor of a limited caloric intake and limited exercise if your longevity is your goal. Because of the free radicals that a super aggressive workout regimen pushes into your body.
Where do you guys stand on to go along with this? Because this is why I did it. Where do you guys stand on breakfast for dinner?
Delicious.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm a fan.
Delicious.
And the Van household every once in a while.
Every once in a while I do a little pancakes action.
Yeah, the boys, big fan of pancakes. They'll, Tommy will eat egg sandwiches.
Did you? Oh, that's okay. Kramer cursed.
You cursed? What?
Now I got to do
more. The whole show's ruined. Get the hell out.
I love a good Tom Van freakout.
I didn't even hear it.
So I think that there's
leave it in. It doesn't matter.
I say you limit the options for the bacon or for everything because it teaches restraint and sacrifice.
Yeah. I know. Right? You're right.
No, I cooked the whole damn thing, and I sat it in front of her, and I go, you eat it all. I love you. That's what I did.
Or were you doing like you're going to smoke a cigarette? I'm going to lock you in a room, and you're going to smoke all night long.
And then I looked her in the eyes, I said, if you eat that whole plate of bacon, and you want more, I will drive to the store and buy more and cook more, and I will feed you as much bacon as you want because I love you.
Do you have a tough time saying no to her?
I'm the heavy, so no. Andrea does.
Okay.
Listen, all that matters is genes, and she's got good genetics. She'll be fine.
I don't know, but her heart. I mean, for at least right now, her genes are good.
I look at her. She's athletic built. She'll be fine.
Yeah, she's fast.
Listen, because here's why I say this is because all these people that I've seen have full lives and get into their 90s.
Yeah.
They had no idea about my pop-up, no idea about nutrition. My wife's granddad,
just genetics,
who was 4 days away from 100. Literally, he'd grow up with no science, but at 8, whatever
and no science is exactly what we're doing right now.
Red wine and ice.
That
genetics.
is not like a scientific sample of people. That's you pointing to a few skewed examples of people that lived a long time.
Every scientist I've ever heard talk about genetics, and now
I think my doctor still smokes.
Yeah, you
really?
The doctor I go to, I'm virtually certain he smokes. His lab coat is yellow.
Yeah, if you got good genetics, you're fine.
Yeah, that's false.
If you don't, then you got a problem, and you got to really fight that.
Genetics is like where you start out in the race, but how far you get down the line depends on how you live. There is a lot of nurture that plays a role in your health and longevity. I mean,
you could
look at WWE wrestlers if you want to know, what can happen.
Yeah, but that's an outlier.
That's what I want her to be.
I
want her to be the next Sasha Banks.
You start, doing uppers and too much testosterone, and you put too hard on your body and the stress, and you could. Even with good genetics, you can screw yourself out of that. You can ruin
you can
your
have
body.
Great genetics and still become obese or morbidly obese. It may be in a more natural state to have be a moderate weight or a healthy weight, but that doesn't mean that you can't
here's the problem.
Turn the tables. I mean, look at childhood obesity and obesity in America. I mean, actually, obesity. It used to be starvation was the biggest problem worldwide. Now obesity is, which is a great testament to how many people have been moved out of poverty worldwide. But obesity is a problem, and that isn't because of genetics. That is because of change in lifestyle. And obesity is a huge predictor of your health and of your lifespan.
Sometimes, though...
So your theory fails.
Hold on. Sometimes, though, obesity is bad genetics. And, you see people that are, For instance,
I know people that
our
can't
buddy
lose
Big
weight.
Tim. Like now, I use him because I'm sure he doesn't care that we talk about him.
Well, I believe he had a car accident, right?
Yeah, but obviously he we've seen him. He eats poorly, but he has the genetics that keeps weight on him like that. He's built bigger. His body type is bigger.
I think he would have been big. I mean, no matter what.
I mean, he can lose weight for sure by eating healthy, but he's not going to be Lance Armstrong. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, this is funny.
Well, he's
This is
definitely
kind of like-
Lance Legstrong.
I just had.
I'll go home. I'm going home. When I say things like that, I instantly hate myself. I'm going home.
I just had this talk with my kids because in my family, there is a strong predilection to be overweight. My grandfather was a big guy. He was a football player, like an all-American
I
football
would
player,
love to
drafted the
see
NFL,
you big and fat.
football coach. My grandmother overweight. My aunt was overweight. My mom struggled with her weight her whole life. Everybody in my family has always struggled with their weight. So we had that speech with our kids, like, look, you've got a prevalence to be overweight, and if you're not going to be, then you've got to make some decisions. And that's my wife and I have always done that, where we have taken the steps to keep in shape and keep a good weight.
Yeah, you guys are super fit.
And I mean, I've definitely been fitter in my adult life, but still, it's something we're conscious about. And it's because we recognize genetics plays a role, but it's not where it ends; it's where it starts.
Another thing, your intelligence level, all genetics.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even try to get smarter. It's never going to happen. You could learn more, but your IQ.
We did a whole show on that.
Is about.
I told you about it.
Yeah. We talked about it.
All right, one more question, because I like to...
Height. That's another one.
In between you guys arguing, I like to dance and throw silly things in here. French toast, pancakes, or waffles?
All the above.
I don't like French toast.
Oh, see,
What?
I have mastered it now. I think you would like mine. I've been
I think you would
making
like
it.
mine, too.
My daughter likes it because it's got that nice custardy...
Oh, yeah.
kind of doughy.
What kind of bread do you use?
Do you not like it because it's soggy? Normally I use whatever I've got. I know that's kind of lame, but I should use like a French baguette because I think that's better. And I
I'm going to tell you, I've tried every one of them. I like French toast. Okay, I'm not gonna kid. I like French toast. I like it on regular bread. Mm-hmm. I like it on challah. Like it on.
It's good on challah.
Oh yeah, really good. The best one that I've found so far is like a French brioche.
Okay.
Really good.
Super soft.
Oh yeah.
Why don't you
actually
like
not
French
as soft
toast?
as you think? Not as soft as challah.
Too soggy?
It may sound bad, but the pancakes, French toast, any like pastry, sugar, all that stuff, I look at it and I'm like, either this now or a couple of White Claw or some alcohol later.
I knew you were going to say
because
that.
it's delicious, but I want the buzz that is associated with all this sugar and carbs.
I agree.
So I'll just put this off till later.
Twitch chat room checking in, twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live. A lot of these, it looks like French toast is winning pretty hard. Like a lot of people like the French toast.
The funny thing is, waffle and pancake is essentially the same mix, just a little variation on it.
Yeah.
And waffles are so much easier to make than pancakes.
Yeah. Because you just kind of put it in the thing and, turn it over. And
they're still different. Like, I'm not saying they're the same thing, but they're very similar.
You need a waffle maker.
I have a waffle.
Yeah.
I have a
And
good
so do
one. I put it on my wedding registry. I have one of the commercial ones where it flips upside down,
that's nice.
like what you would have in like a college cafeteria.
We have a really good one. It's like a Williams-Sonoma one.
You know why I like French toast? The reason I weigh heavy on French toast is I like the spice mixture. And the sugar that you add
some red
to
pepper,
it. Yeah.
Little oregano.
No, I
some
do.
paprika.
I do a little bit of I do like a quarter teaspoon of nutmeg. I do a half teaspoon of cinnamon. I'll do a real vanilla extract.
Oh, yeah.
2 tablespoons of sugar.
Have you done this,
God.
Daniel?
You got to really give it.
You're doing it all.
Oh,
Gotta
I
do that.
it
Gotta
all.
do that. Daniel's
I'm telling
right.
you, if I made this for you, I think you would, because you're not a sweets guy, but if I made this for you, I think you would be like,
of course.
this is pretty good.
I think I'm
delicious.
with Daniel.
I'll be
Me
like,
too.
rather have a White Claw.
Have you ever done this, Daniel?
Unless you put alcohol in it.
I wonder if I could batter bread with White Claw and then pan fry it in tequila.
That's what you feed ducks. like wet bread. Have you done this, Daniel? Have you ever like taken a vanilla bean and you take your knife, cut it down the middle, and then scrape out the beans and put that in French toast?
Andrea wouldn't let me do it. You know why?
So good.
You know why? Because buying the vanilla bean that I wanted to do for that, and they have it over at Publix. Like it was a jar, not like that, and it had all the vanilla beans in it, and you scrape them out. And it's like the real stuff. I was about to curse there, and it was like $70 for like the jar of. I'm like, no, it was like some Madagascar.
You don't need very
vanilla. Like no, we're not doing that. We're not.
Yeah, vanilla beans and saffron are like the two most expensive.
So expensive.
Herbs, spices, whatever.
What do your boys like?
They pancake. Boys.
Maisie is a pancake
They'll
girl.
Eat waffle.
I converted her.
Pancake could go so wrong though.
Like I converted her to French toast. I think she likes it because even without the syrup, because I put the sugar and the vanilla and everything in there, it kind of tastes like a
sugar
treat.
And butter. Yeah, and carbs. Yeah, wait a minute, like, which is sugar. Kids are always going to love that. Yeah. No, but any of them.
It's all the same.
God, I'm making myself hungry.
I can tell you though, I was in like a diner when we were up in Asheville, and we went to some like I don't know crap diner, and they gave a pancake, and it was the size of a plate. And it probably weighed 5 pounds because it was just so thick and like stiff. It was so bad.
It is too much.
It was supposed to be fluffy and had air.
I can't eat this. I'm an adult. Like I'll
you couldn't eat it because it was like eating concrete.
That is an adult thing. Like even when I go to one of our favorite breakfast places here in Orlando is Briar Patch, and if I go to Briar Patch and sit there and they bring out like some sort of like lemon curd stuffed pancakes, I kind of feel like a baby.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel
that way when I eat the mushed baby food peas.
Like any
Do you dress like a baby?
No.
Okay.
Any of that type of food.
No, I'm not opposed to it.
Like, and special occasions and stuff like that.
Like a 1940s baby?
You can't be eating a stack of flapjacks on
my dad would beg to differ.
On like a Tuesday morning. Like, we can't do it.
You want my dad's order?
Unless you're exercising a lot.
No, not every day. When he would go to, this is ridiculous.
Unless you're Michael Phelps.
When my dad would go to IHOP, he would get, I want 3 eggs over hard, tall stack, 6 extra butter, 4 slices bacon. He'd get a stack of pancakes. I swear to God, it looked like a shoebox.
Yeah.
I had that problem with breakfast too. Like if I do breakfast, I've really got to do it.
2,000 calorie breakfast.
He'd put it on the table. He'd be all in his Harley gear because he and I would ride our Harley Davidsons out to some diner, normally to IHOP. Yeah. And he would consume that breakfast with probably 6 cups of coffee in a matter of 3 minutes, and then immediately run to the bathroom and diarrhea everywhere. It was like clockwork. Yeah.
So
like clockwork.
I love a good breakfast.
You just burped.
No, I didn't.
I heard it.
It was an N-word burp.
Yeah, you did an N-word burp.
No, neither of you.
You were like,
I'm convinced I could be a short order cook. Convinced. I'd like to try it. Well, I'm really good at cooking breakfast.
I'm surprised of all the jobs that you've had that you haven't been a short order cook.
It's shocking, but I could do it.
So
if we set up the challenge, you'll do it?
You're shocking everybody by saying Steven Kramer, a successful lawyer in town.
Who owns his own firm, employs people.
Can possibly work at Waffle House. I think you could do it too.
Hold on. Being a short order cook, that's not an easy gig. You got eggs go one place, bacon in another, you got pancakes going.
Waffle House is hard, bro.
That's hard.
Waffle House hops.
I think
it hops.
I'd like to see you.
I do it at home. That's how I know.
In a full suit.
I'll wear their hairnet.
Behind.
I want you in a full suit with a hairnet.
Anybody who works at Waffle House,
full suit. I'm going to dress like a baby.
Will you let Steven Kramer be a short order cook for one day? We'll Twitch
I'll bring the mobile gear.
Breakfast. I'm not talking about lunch.
We'll build the backpack. We'll have Juan come out. I'll bring the mobile gear. We will broadcast live. We'll sit, and you have to cook for me and Tom.
I would do that.
That's a good
I would
bit.
do that.
That's a solid bit.
We could do a live show like that.
And I think there's nothing more gentlemanly than knowing how to cook. I've always said that. I think that all men
if you're going to be self-sufficient, you got to learn. That's why I learned
how to cook.
Cooking on a giant griddle. You put the bacon, the eggs.
No, dude, I'm telling you, it's doing it with speed. Have you ever seen these guys when they're moving the eggs?
Tasty.
And they're moving the egg and they're doing the hash browns.
Yeah.
And then there's one guy back there making waffles. Especially at Waffle House. That waffle maker.
Worst case, you could just come to my house and join with the family for breakfast.
I want to see it at a Waffle House.
That'd be better.
I want to see a big fat manager yelling at you.
Yeah. With all the employees.
I've been yelled at by many managers.
They're bullying you. They pants you.
See, even Juan, who is a chef, said he would pay to watch that. And he also said mastering the flat top is a skill that requires years of daily practice.
I think Juan's right. I could do it, though.
I think you could, but Juan is also underestimating that Tom... I know you're very overconfident. You're talking about
1 week. I could do it. No problem.
It's very easy.
You put a bunch of butter on there. What do you want? Eggs, bacon? I'll put it on there.
I hate to do this, but
I know when it's done.
I got 32 years of experience in doing it. I started cooking breakfasts when I was 7, not aggressively, but eggs.
I hate to do this.
Over
but
easy, over hard. That's easy.
This is my job. It's going to be the Great Breakfast Cook-Off. Tom Van versus Steven Kramer. We've had many challenges. We've had push-ups. We've had living in the woods. We've had all kinds of...
wrestling.
Wrestling. So now we're going to do the Great Breakfast Challenge.
We need a breakfast diner.
But it has to be rated for taste. It's not just getting the slop on the plate.
I could have Samantha call up to Junior's. It's right up the street. And because they close at I think they close around 3 or so, after lunch.
That could be funny.
And we'll go up there and we'll give them free plugs and everything. And then you guys, and me and Butler and Sam will sit at the counter. And then it'd be up to you and Kramer to prepare our breakfasts.
And then what's the who judges? You guys, who made it better?
Well, I think it'd be smarter to have one of the main short order cooks grade it, right?
Well, I think you have a panel.
What's the hardest thing to cook on a flat top?
We'd have to ask
for breakfast.
I don't even know. Well, if someone orders eggs Benedict, I don't know how to make that. I don't.
You have to poach eggs.
You have to get out a cookbook.
I can't.
That's slow you down. You can't do that. You'd have to prep ahead of time.
You have to get your iPhone out.
Once you pull out an iPhone or a cookbook,
first you got to learn how to spell Benedict.
Well, here's the thing: I'm not a good cook, so it's not
But you
said you could become one in a week.
That's incorrect. I apply you to cooking as people with credit. You don't have bad. You don't have bad credit. You have no credit. You're not a bad cook. You just don't cook a ton.
I have no experience.
Yeah, you don't cook a ton.
But if you get a flat top. And basically tell me okay, you want 2 eggs over easy.
Juan says eggs the hardest.
Sausage.
I agree with him. You can F up some eggs, man.
Yeah.
Well, you crack it and then you put butter, lots of butter.
Well, you got to. But remember,
butter burns.
You're cooking for all 3 of us at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to manage, and everybody's going to be different. You got over easy, over medium, over hard, scrambled, sunny side up, poached. You got to be able to do that one. Watch
shirred.
That time.
Don't forget shirred.
I don't even know what shirred is.
Delicious.
I don't know how to make poached eggs. I don't even know what that is. Like a soft boiled.
Isn't that where you crack it gently into boiling water and then you let it cook itself in the water?
You have to cook it just right.
In the water?
Andrea poaches eggs all the time. Yeah. She's good at it.
What's the difference between poaching and fry? I guess the butter.
Well, no, you're not. It's in a water bath.
Yeah.
So the egg, the actual raw egg, not the egg shell, but just the egg.
You crack the egg into the water.
You crack it gently. You don't want it to break, and you want it in the water, and you want it to just gently poach itself.
It's how you make eggs Benedict.
So then the egg is just cooking.
It's the number one thing.
I don't know how to do that.
On any Gordon Ramsay show, I love to watch him if he wants to really test a cook.
He's crazy with eggs,
but he'll have
his scrambled eggs take a half hour or something insane.
He'll go. Let me see you poach an egg, and then most people can't do it. Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you can screw it all up fast.
You can screw up boiling eggs too.
We got this machine now. Andrea has this machine. Everybody's got the fun of cooking is being able to do it. But if you throw a machine at it, I think it almost ruins it to me. She has this little machine you can put the poached eggs in, and the steam comes up, does everything, and they're perfect every single time. They look like they just came out of the water, but it's just in a machine.
Well, it's like you get that little cup, and then you put it in the microwave, and then you
even McDonald's doesn't microwave their eggs.
They don't.
No, those are cooked.
Wawa does.
No, you have to ask for the cooked ones.
No, they cook them for the Egg McMuffins.
You have to say, I want.
They have a little circular
egg.
thing, and it goes in on the griddle.
Where do you guys stand on egg beaters?
No.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, no.
If I'm going to eat eggs, that's leftover from the 90s.
I don't like it.
That's low fat
you're
stuff.
Pouring it out of a milk carton.
Yeah,
it was like this is gross. Something gross about that.
Yeah, there is. But there's
I want
also
the cholesterol
something gross about eating a baby chicken.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
they're not baby chickens. They're not fertilized.
Well, they
but
could be.
I buy the omega-3 eggs, so the yolk is the healthiest part of the egg because I'm getting all
But
omega-3
I get
fats.
omega-4s.
If you really think about eggs, you're like, ew, my wife has eggs, and this chicken has eggs.
That's fine. You'll do the
Can you
omega
fry
alpha.
your wife's eggs?
They're microscopic, I think.
Well, I mean, if we could get one out,
Gross.
Yeah.
could you fry
Too far.
it? It's like
Way too
caviar.
far.
I'm going to need a lot more of these. I'm hungry. Yeah. I was just down there, didn't see these.
Like
You open the carton and check to make sure none of them are cracked.
it just, if you really think about it, it all gross.
No.
You know?
It is gross. Like if you really,
If I think too much about eggs, it's a bad thing.
here's a fact. If you examine food heavily in your mind, and I exclude all vegetables because those are easy to think about.
Yeah.
But meat and dairy and all that, if you
Animal
really,
products,
animal products, if you go
If you
heavy,
examine them.
it's not good.
Yeah.
Not
It's
all
not
of them.
good.
I mean, fruit is amazing.
Celery is
Fruit is
great.
beautiful.
We're not talking about
Yeah,
vegetables.
I'm not talking
Any
about fruit and
animal
vegetables.
products. And here's the thing: I'm not a snowflake, or I'm not a vegetarian, and my wife is, but I eat meat all the time. But if I really deep dive, I don't want to do that. I just want to put my head in the sand and live my life.
We have to take a break. Let's
Yep.
take a break. We have a question for Steven about deep fakes on the internet.
Because I'm the deep fake expert.
Well, I think it's a legal question. So, and there's a video component, so we'll do that when we return. You're listening to A Gentleman's Guide. It's the Tom and Dan Cruise 2020. This is like, what, our 7th or 8th cruise I think we've done?
Yep.
And if you go to the website, tomanddancruise2020.com, that's the numbers, 2020.com, you can check out. We're going to be sailing April 20th through the 24th, 2020, and it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun.
Absolutely. If you missed this year's cruise, the 2019 cruise, you definitely book the 2020 cruise. Like Daniel said, tomanddancruise2020.com.
And we are back with A Gentleman's Guide to Manliness. I'm Steve Kramer.
Why are you doing that?
Dan Dennis.
Tom.
Okay, we got an email from our buddy Jade, and he says, this is for A Gentleman's Guide. Kramer, are you familiar with any legal cases involving a video technique called synthetic composition or AI deepfake? Thank you.
Thank everybody. Thanks.
These are increasingly sophisticated artificial intelligence-based methods for altering video that can make a person appear to say or do something they never did. Any current legal cases involving this technique or any experience with doctored audio or video that was later determined to be fake? And the reason he brought this up, oh my God, I'm sorry. I get really emotional. And here is the reason he brought it up. It's a YouTube video that is really popular right now. Have you seen this? Okay, this is Bill Hader on, and I'll put it up so everybody can see it. Hold on here. Let me just get rid of my...
Bill Hader on David Letterman.
Yeah, this is from, I want to say it was from like 2012 or something like that, but you can see him. And they're saying that this is probably one of the best deepfakes ever because Bill Hader is going to tell a story about Tom Cruise. Now, watch what happens as he tells the story about Tom Cruise.
It seemed like every movie I saw in the last several months, you were in it. And good for you. That's just
thanks,
great.
buddy. Thanks.
And I was wondering about the one, the Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, Tropic Thunder.
Where Tom Cruise. You're working with Tom Cruise. What was that experience like?
It was amazing. Like, we got to dance together. That was amazing. We had, like, when you do a movie, you do table reads, where, like, all the actors get together.
At the beginning of the production?
beginning, before anything, you get together and you read through the script. And so it's like, all these heavyweights, like, Ben Stiller, Jack Black, Robert Downey Jr., everybody. And at the end is, like, me. Like, hey... happy to be here, guys. And some other supporting guys, and then Tom Cruise walks in,
my God.
and even those guys are like, "Whoa!" And he's super stoked to be there. Just like, "Yeah, oh, boom!" He's like,
Wow.
And morphing his face back and forth.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
And it's flawless, man. It's absolutely flawless. And it goes on for a lot longer, but you guys get the idea without us ripping. You can find this. Just go to YouTube.
Yeah, that was crazy.
YouTube, type in Bill Hader channels Tom Cruise.
So it morphs into his face.
Yeah.
into Tom Cruise's face
Yes,
from Bill
indeed.
Hader's face.
Although
That's weird.
That's not like I thought you were going to show me like
I thought it was going to be a faked video of Bill Hader, and it's it's not actually Bill Hader.
Oh,
Yeah.
apparently at the end he morphs into Seth Rogen. I didn't know that.
So they're just
That's not that crazy. I mean, they were doing that in the Michael Jackson video in early '90s.
It's just like all technology. The technology becomes so inexpensive that consumers start getting a hold of it, and then
the Jordan Peele video of him doing an Obama impression, that was much more compelling as a example of.
Well, that was more of a cautionary tale,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
So the worry is moving forward that this technology is going to get so good that eventually you'll see.
It's not eventually.
It's already happening.
Near
Right.
future.
Although I've seen like what they doing with Trump or someone else, where they'll put it together where he's saying something crazy, and when you look at it, it doesn't look totally real. Like it looks real, but you could tell that something's wrong. You know what I'm saying? It could fool a lot of people that wouldn't know any better or didn't know this technology exists.
Sure.
But I think majority of the population sees that, especially now if it's on social media, like all the comments would be like, this is fake or whatever. It's weird because social media in one aspect spreads things and misinformation, but in another aspect, people are learning to call it out as fake in the comments. So then people are learning to look in the comments to see if this is real or not. And most of the time, the population work it out for itself. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, no,
Like,
you're correct.
like anytime you see a fake video now, you usually if I can't tell if it's real or fake, I'll just go down the comments and someone will be like, "This is old, this is fake, whatever." And then but that's kind of dangerous because I'm just taking their word for it. But if there's an overwhelming majority that says fake, I go with fake. You know what I'm saying? Which is probably bad because you have no idea what these people are basing that off of. But at least there's an accountability. Where will this technology go to a point where you can't tell what is real or not? Like,
I mean, that's
the 20 years from now. Like, there'll be someone to be like, "Is that really the president saying this, or is this really person?"
I mean, we already have that. We already have that issue coming up again and again. What happens is a video comes out and either it portrays a interaction or narrative from one perspective, and then afterwards a second angle comes out, or an unedited version of the video comes out, or somebody comes forward with additional information that sheds further light on it, and then we re-examine it, and some people go ahead and change their position on it, but the damage is done. It's kind of like when a news story comes out that's false, and there's the headline, and then there's the retraction on page 20 a month later. A lot of times the damage gets done, but this is already happening, and those aren't even deep fakes. Those are just stories that are out of context or edited or not full context.
What I'm talking about, though, and we all are familiar with like out of context videos and
or quotes. I mean, everything out of context matters.
Yeah, and so I think we all know,
context matters.
I'm talking about the actual person. Or not, a computer generated, they're taking clips of an actual person, putting it all together, and then putting their actual voice all together seamlessly. So they're saying something that's not them. It's completely computer animated, using images of that person.
We're not that far off.
There was the Joe Rogan one, remember, about the monkeys learning karate?
Yes,
I think that came out like a couple of months ago, and like it was all built off of things that he had said in multiple, because he has we would probably have that because we have so many podcasts out there where we've said almost every word.
That's like Siri. Siri, the woman went in, she recorded a certain amount of words that they knew would be necessary to use any possible sentence in English to give responses. I mean, the reality is somebody like that, or somebody like us even, has enough audio out there that people could manipulate that.
What's interesting,
and that's audio, that's not video, but video too.
All this technology exists, and our brains are still primitive enough, and this is all going to go to porno in a minute. Our brains are still primitive enough to get a portion of satisfaction out of a fake that's enough to be satisfying. For instance, when they start getting into deepfake porns,
it's already an issue. I mean, actresses, especially actresses, have been the most victimized in that process because I mean their rights to publicity, their right to likeness, their
it's
their right to privacy,
and all that. I'm not even arguing whether it's right or wrong because of course
it's out there.
It's wrong. Yeah, it's out there. But I'm saying,
and people watch it.
And in 20 years, you'll be able to, your favorite. As a kid, think about it. Like as a young Daniel, Steve, me, we like, I wish this person that's a celebrity like had a,
I did it. I erased Betty and Veronica's boobs in the comic book and I drew them a nude. You know what I mean? Like that was a very crude version of what I wanted. Yeah.
But
analog deep fake.
We'll have that where we can see.
Yeah.
We'll search our local porn site for whatever actress or actor we want.
But in 20 years, we will be far beyond this discussion because it will be locked down or it will be the Wild West, and effectively it will be more than just watching a video. It could be virtual reality, and we're on the cusp of that right now. That's not 20 years.
Let me ask you this, Steve, because you have an understanding of politics and what it takes to change laws and everything. I feel like our system, I mean, obviously everybody knows, our system, because we have checks and balances and it's so hard to change anything and make new laws and stuff, that it's so difficult to change something. The technology is moving faster than it could possibly keep up with. Do you think there will be regulations on the internet? But wouldn't society rebel against that? Like, why would we ever vote for regulation?
Well,
would we be tricked into voting for it?
There's already regulation on the internet, and it really,
I know, but I'm talking about like
that's speaking about the internet in an abstract terms that make it difficult to really reconcile. What does that mean? The reality is the internet consists of a variety of different kind of independent arenas. So you deal with taxation issues on the internet. You deal with with copyright material that's posted. I mean, we've already taken a lot of steps to regulate the internet. So the Digital Millennium Copyright Act was passed, and now that's why you see takedown notices on so many videos and so much content. When you go to look at it, and it says this video has been removed as a result of a DMCA complaint. So that's an area where there's been regulation. There's been sales tax cases that have gone to court, have been litigated for the last 25 years, and we're now in a position where sales tax can be collected on the internet. There's a case I think it's out of Missouri, where there's an attempt by a city to extract a tax as like a carrier tax. I think it's on Facebook, and that's really working its way through the courts. And there's all types of cases like that. Right now the ISPs and platforms have been exempted from a lot of speech regulation through this exception. I think it's called Section 230. Right, and that assumes that they're a content neutral platform for other people to post opinions. But right now, that is being re-examined because because the standards for speech on platforms are not in conformity with U.S. law. Right, the standard is not whatever is in line with U.S. law on the First Amendment is allowed on this platform. That is not the standard. The standards are heightened, and it is more restrictive, and content is being restricted in a way that discriminates against viewpoint. And it's not so much as whether it's politically favors one side or another, or politically favors one social opinion over another, or whatever opinion over another. It's that there is a favoring of any idea or any speech, and the moment that happens, potentially they're no longer a content neutral platform. The other thing that can happen there is that our speech has moved from the public square, right? People used to go out in public, and that's where they had their interactions and where people exchanged ideas. That locus for the exchange of ideas now is on the internet, is on these platforms, and because these platforms effectively collectively have an oligopoly or a monopoly, there's a serious rethinking of the underlying idea of how speech is going to work in the future.
Because these private companies can have say over what they allow.
Well, right now they have the exclusive right to go ahead and limit whatever speech they want.
Yes.
But right now they're playing it both ways. They have the right to limit speech and to potentially favor one viewpoint or another, but they're exempted from being regulated for that. And at the same time, we're moving to a place where there's this idea kind of evolving that these platforms are either quasi-public squares that should have some degree of protection for speech. And you're going to see that work its way through cogently, or you're going to see regulation in the form of some type of antitrust action, because the current trajectory probably is not going to be healthy for our democratic values, looking forward.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but in a different realm, what I'm kind of talking about
But you're talking about deepfake, yeah?
Well, I'm talking...
So I kind of got a little in the weeds there, sorry.
No, that's fine, because you're right. But I'm talking about, like, what happened with the music industry or what happened with the porno industry and these kind of things where, like, all of a sudden, the internet was moving fast. People were sharing everything, and then it was too little too late. They were trying to, like, wait, you guys can't just give us all for free. But then society is like, too bad, we were already doing it, and we're not stopping. So, and then our entire culture was like, I'm never doing this the old school way. Right. Same thing with porno, and they couldn't change the laws fast enough, and now society had changed because of the internet, and no one was ever going to go back.
See, I disagree. With the music example, I wrote a lot about this, and I did thesis research on this. And with the music industry, I think it was less of a willingness on the part of the legislatures and through the courts. I think the bigger issue was kind of a calcified recording industry that was kind of reactive and didn't look forward to the future and didn't have any foresight. And because of that,
giant corporations being too big to change, and they screwed themselves.
Yeah, basically too calcified in their ideas.
We know that.
And too limited in their ideas. I think the legal framework was there, for sure, for these companies to have adapted and really taken advantage of the situation. For instance, if instead of the way that they tackled Napster, they'd come at it from a different way, it could be a very different world right now. So what you had in Napster was a central exchange for almost all music that everyone essentially went to on the internet, right? You had everything you could want if you're the recording industry. But instead of embracing it, buying it out, taking it over, and going, how can we make this work? Instead, they shut it down, and they used the courts and the legislative process to shut it down.
And Metallica.
So, but with deepfakes, it's the same story for deepfakes and for this misrepresented content that's out there, or misrepresented defamatory content that's out there. The laws are already in place. There's false light laws. There's rights of publicity laws. There's invasion of privacy laws. There's intentional infliction of emotional distress. There for extortion issues. There's harassment laws and extortion laws. And revenge porn is the law that was enacted newly and frankly has run into trouble because it treads and encroaches on the First Amendment in some instances, depending on the state. So that's an example of a reactive step by the legislature to go ahead and react to a problem. Which kind of cuts against the argument, are the legislature slow? No, they were fast, and they reacted quickly. It was kind of a knee-jerk reaction. But the point being that there's already a host of options out there to deal with the legal element of deepfake or any defamatory speech on the internet. And you will probably see more, and you will see an evolution in how the courts treat the deep fakes and frankly social media in the future, and you're seeing the seeds of that now in the socially and politically. You're seeing the seeds of it. You hear more and more discussion about antitrust, about regulation, about free speech, about these issues a lot more now. There's a lot more buzz now than there was 5 or 10 years ago. A lot more.
If you would like to sit down with Steven and have him use his powerful brain, which he just displayed, to help you for a legal matter, you can go to onefirmforlife.com. Mm-hmm. That was impressive, dude. I enjoyed you pontificating.
I try not to turn off on mine.
No, I like that.
No.
I know sometimes we get you in here and you don't like going into the legal thing. I enjoy it because I don't know anything about it. So it's fun to just sit here and listen, learn something, like learning.
This sounds very dumb, but as I get older, it's crazy seeing the world change, and being
understand it a little bit more.
You're being a part of, your age gives you perspective, and then you're like, whoa, man. I remember 10 years ago was a lot different.
It was. Well,
that sounds like an old
give
man.
it 10 more years.
Yeah.
Guys, we got to get out of here.
Yes,
Great job,
we do.
everybody.
You too.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. To those of you that joined us live on Twitch, thank you. And we will see you next week for more A Gentleman's Guide.
Yeah.